In a previous video, we looked at how to stand the compositional data for our standards. In this video, we're going to look at how to store the positions of our standards so that we can make them easily accessible when we're doing analysis. Before we store the standard positions, we need to have their compositions already saved in standard.mdb. If you need to find out how to do this, watch the video on standards. We store the positions in .pos files. You can have an individual POS file for each standard block, which makes it useful if you want to unload or reload or move a given standard block. You then don't have to update the entire file. So let's get started. To do this, let's launch PfE EPMA. If this is the first time opening PfE EPMA, I'll just give you a quick rundown of the user interface. The first problem that comes up asks you if you want to interface to the microprobe hardware. If you want to do any actual analysis of the instrument, you need to select yes. But if you're working on an existing database, or if you're working on a laptop away from the instrument, you can select no, and the software will open in a data processing mode. We want to acquire some actual data, so we're going to select yes. You then may see a tip of the day. These can be quite useful, but you can turn them off if you want to. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to open a new database. To go File, New, but you can open an existing database if you wish. If you're opening a new database, you can give it a name. I'm going to use this for positions and fiducials, which we'll cover in the next video. And you can then put in some useful data to help describe this database. The first thing we need to do is we need to tell the program what standards we want to be working on. So you go Standard, Add Remove Standards to or from the run. Now at the moment we only have a few standards which are all in one block. But if you have a long list of standards, especially if you have more than one block loaded, you can enter the name of the block that you're interested down here and it'll pre-filter those that are in that block. But we're going to go ahead and block select the whole lot and add them to the run. And these are the standards that we're going to be working on. Now to put the position data in, we're going to use automate. I'm also going to open acquire because that's going to give me access to the stage display. This is just a pictorial representation of where the stage is at the moment from this red circle, and also the stage block that I have loaded at the moment, which is a 9 position holder. You can change the image for your block either from a list of pre-existing ones, or you can generate your own WMF file. You can look up in the PfE EPMA reference guide on how to do that. You can change the size of the display incrementally by going down by 0.8 or up by 1.2. I'll leave it at a reasonable size so that we can see it quite clearly. You can also reduce this menu item out of the way by clicking on the minus sign. I'll shrink this window out of the way because we don't particularly need it at the moment. And what I'll also do is I'll call up an image of the standard block that I'm working on. So here we have 4 reference positions and also 3 F positions, F1, F2 and F3. These are the fiducial marks which we'll cover in the next video. Now if we look at the automate window, we can click on standards and we have an empty window because currently we don't have any positions. As the header says, this is the standard position samples from the position.mdb, and this records all positions that we've currently acquired, and because we don't have any positions stored yet, that window is open. To get positions in there, we need to click digitize positions, and this brings up a new digitize sample positions window. And now we can see our 4 reference materials that we've asked to be loaded are available to us. So all we need to do is move the stage to each of these positions in turn and store the position. So let's first go to the copper, which is roughly where we are at the moment. So we use the camera on your instrument using the Kamika or Jail software to find the absolute position and also make sure that the sample is focused correctly in Z. And we're on the copper metal, so I'll select copper metal. That puts it into the list, adds it to the position list, but if I move that out of the way, we'll see that there's still no positions listed, and there's an asterisk in front of the name showing that there's nothing stored there yet. What we need to do is we need to go and add the number of points we want to add. We'll just add a single point. So we click single point, and we have a position recorded for that sample, for that standard. We then move to the nickel sulfide, which is over to the right. Double click on the stage, and the stage will move. Select nickel sulfide for the list. It'll put that as the one of interest, and it's a position list, and again click single point. And again for the iron, select iron metal, single point, and then finally for the albite. Then we can close that, and we can see from our positions, if we double click on each one, it opens the position data for each of those. Now if we're not happy with any of these positions, say for the copper metal, we wanted to recheck where that was. Go back to the copper, find a better area, and we can then right click that and update that single selected position, and that now updates the position to the current stage position. And that's how we store the standard position data. Now that we've stored positions for all our standards, what we usefully need to do is to be able to store that in its own discrete position file, so that we can easily load it later on if we need to. So we select all the relevant standards, and we export those selected samples to a new POS file. And we'll call that training block. And I've called it position 5 because my block is currently in position 5 on my 9-position block or sample holder. But it's not necessary to do that. It's just whether you want to have a separate position file for each of the holder positions. And then click Save. Yes, we want to update that data, and that's now been updated. In the next video, we'll look at how to assign fiducial positions to those standards.